Throughout the summer, Democrats cruelly blocked COVID relief legislation in an effort to advance their extreme left-wing agenda and influence the election. Then, a few months ago, Congress started negotiations on a new package to get urgently needed help to the American people. It's taken forever. However, the bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace. For example, among the more than 5,000 pages in this bill, which nobody in Congress has read because of its length and complexity, it's called the COVID Relief Bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID. This bill contains $85.5 million for assistance to Cambodia, $134 million to Burma, $1.3 billion for Egypt and the Egyptian military, which will go out and buy almost exclusively Russian military equipment, $25 million for democracy and gender programs in Pakistan, $505 million to Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama, $40 million for the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., which is not even open for business, $1 billion for the Smithsonian, and an additional $154 million for the National Gallery of Art. Likewise, these facilities are essentially not open. $7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico, a provision to promote the breeding of fish in federal hatcheries, $3 million in poultry production technology, $2 million to research the impact of down trees, $566 million for construction projects at the FBI. The bill also allows stimulus checks for the family members of illegal aliens, allowing them to get up to $1,800 each. This is far more than the Americans are given. Despite all of this wasteful spending and much more, the $900 billion package provides hardworking taxpayers with only $600 each in relief payments. And not enough money is given to small businesses, and in particular restaurants, whose owners have suffered so grievously. They were only given a deduction for others to use in business their restaurant for 2 years. This 2-year period must be withdrawn, which will allow the owners to obtain financing and get their restaurants back in condition. Congress can terminate it at a much later date, but 2 years is not acceptable. It's not enough. Congress found plenty of money for foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interests, while sending the bare minimum to the American people who need it. It wasn't their fault. It was China's fault, not their fault. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I am also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me, and we will get it done. Thank you very much.
What's up, world? Thank you for tuning in to The Awakening, the Blacks Real Talk 101, the Gangsters channel. This pandemic has really taken a toll on everything. However, the money keeps coming, the bills keep coming. At once meant the government was trying to put everything on hold, such as the rent for people getting charged, or whatsoever. And what they could have done is just cut them a check, since they're giving out money from everywhere else, right? And if they really wanted to, they could have done that, because I want you guys to think about this, right? the only reason why the landlords are kicking people out or, evicting people because they can't pay the money is because they also are being harassed to pay their bill. They have to pay their taxes or whatever they have to pay on that building that they're renting out. They need the money too, so they stress the tenants that they got to get the money or they're gonna lose their place. And I understand how that works. But what I don't understand, and I'm saying this in reference to, how is it that is reference to this, that you want money to keep coming in? Matter of fact, I'm not going to reference on it. Let me just get straight to the point. The landlords have to pay the money, whoever they got to pay, right? So why didn't the government it'd have been a whole lot of money. You know what I mean? It'd have been a whole lot of money, right? And you would say, well, that's a lot of money. But let's think about what Donald Trump was talking about this package, the stimulus packet that they're giving to everybody else all around the world. And I'm about to play that shit again because a lot of y'all probably don't trust that dude, whatever. The reason why I look at it like, even though he's talking crazy mess, you got to look into what he's saying at sometimes, because he's probably one of them guys who was like, he don't go along to get along. He's probably one of those white supremacist people. I mean, he would tell the people, actually his people, to what the hell is going on. Like, look, man, they got this stimulus check going out. They giving it to everybody else out there in the world, but they can't do nothing over here. So now let's get back to, that's what it's referenced to. Now let's get back to people losing their homes and all this other stuff. That's just like, okay, think about this. Your bills just runs off of whatever it runs off of. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be. Let's take, for instance, the phone bill, right? You mean to tell me, and that's not even thinking about the phone bill, but you mean to tell me that you can't stop shit just like the economy stopped? Even though the economy stopped, right? But everybody still needed the money. So why couldn't, if the pandemic caused everything to stop, shouldn't you have stopped everything as well? Like, if the people didn't have money to pay their rent, right? That package, let's just say that package that you was signing for, that stimulus package, why couldn't that go out to all the people who own places or whatever, who was on the verge of being, you know what I'm saying, losing their homes, getting kicked out? Why couldn't you just put that money? I mean, you're the ruler of everything. You could have just stopped this shit until everything got back to normal. People should have been able to live as freely. Pay for your gasoline, whatever, to get you from to and fro, blah, blah, blah. Everything should have been like at a pause. Stop charging the people money. We're fucked up right now. Everything stops right now. Press the pause button. Everything got to stop. You see what I'm saying? And even though if you would have got, let's say, a landlord had like 5 tenants in his building, right? Reference to this. You can reference to a bigger number, but I'm just giving an example. He had that many tenants. The government gave him for a year, right? Accumulated all the money that they all own for a year or 6 months or whatever. 8 months or whatever. Okay, don't go evict these people. Here's the check. Let them stay until we basically paying your rent. The government's basically paying your rent. And yeah, it would have been a whole lot of money. It would have. But you're also giving out money to all these other places. And when Trump said that to me, that was the Lord revealing that through his ass. Because remember, they all are vessels made purposely for destruction. You understand? So they're empty vessels. So now I look at it as the Lord called it out, what they're pretty much doing. And that's how I see it. That's how it was. And that's real talk. You couldn't stop everything. You couldn't put a pause button on everything if you was really concerned about the American people. But I'm sorry, white people. The reason why, because we got niggas among you. So therefore, you got to suffer too, because you associated or you are around them. And that's how that goes. Think about the Katrina thing. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people who actually for Trump, because they know and he knows that these people are bullshitting. And so that's why the people storm the Capitol, because they know what time it is. It's what they're doing. And of course, I didn't even want to sweep this up under the rug, because you see how in a hurry they went to convict Donald Trump, but yet through this pandemic, supposedly everybody's suffering. So they put everybody else on hold to get his ass out the way. And it's always bull crap anyway, because at the end of the day, this guy didn't even look like he was worried. He already know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. And yet they make it look like they really wanted to do something when pretty much all of them are on the same team, basically. I don't care how you look at it. They basically on the same team. When it comes down to them against you or us, please, man. They riding with their folks. They're not going to take up for us. Period. And old man Biden, he's an old man. I give him one term. So whatever he got going on or whatever's behind all this foolishness, because a nigga like he ain't even writing his own stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they give him a what's the name to read off a prompt. And them ain't his own words, because he can barely see him. So he won't be around long. But now, throughout this pandemic, because as much as they say a lot of people are homeless and all this other stuff, maybe it is. But I'm seeing a lot of people still moving around. You understand? So it must be not as bad as we or what they make it appear to be. Because I didn't want to just sweep this up under the rug and you wonder why is it taking so long, or etc., etc. Why it's taking so long? Because maybe they already done sent the money out to the other spots. But we just don't know they have. So they're prolonging everything. Meanwhile, apartment buildings, rentals are still being built and people are still moving in them. So we got to look and really observe what is this going on before our eyes that we're looking at, because something's going on. Something is going on. Are they creating an illusion? Or is something else going on? And like I said, people still moving around. So maybe it ain't as bad as they trying to make it appear to be. You feel me? So that's why I figure. Everybody's driving around, especially these white people. Whether they're Caucasian or whoever they are. They ride around like they have no worries. You understand what I'm saying? So they probably worried about the pandemic, you know, catching that flu thing. I give them that. They may be concerned about that because after all, it was made to pretty much come out there. And you know what? It seems like, let me sidetrack for a minute, because it seems like throughout the year, there's a lot of killing of us. And then the Lord probably brings something to take care of, you know, death for death or whatever it may be. Who knows? But anyway, people are out here struggling. People been struggling though, but just like a long time ago, I remember they was talking about the recession and all this other stuff. And then I went out to a mall and seen a bunch of like white foreign people. You know, I don't know, they probably was like Spanish or whatever, Espanol, or Polish or wherever they was from. Maybe they was tourists. But when you went out there, that whole concept of a recession, you looked around, people out there shopping, buying stuff. So maybe there's something that Trump is saying that you all are probably not being aware of. Because like I said, he's probably one of them dudes who's not going along to get along. He's like, fuck y'all. He's like between the lames and the real dudes. You know what I'm saying? Even though we got lames and real dudes in the streets, and we still represent that same street life, the real dudes don't deal with the lames. So that's what Trump is probably of, that type of supremacist people. To tell the people what it is, like all this fake news, and maybe you all maybe need to observe that to see exactly what it is, because it might be something in there that you're missing. Yeah. And then you look at the news, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, every time an election is on the verge or whatever, we see all this brutality, police stuff, all this killing of us. We see a lot of this go on. All this marching and protesting, all this other stuff, right? But when it's over with, you don't see as much of it anymore. So now they want to say that, well, forget what they want to say. It's what I'm saying now. It's all bullshit. That stimulus packet they waiting on, I think maybe because niggas involved in it, they really don't want to do it. Because I don't see that many, and I might be wrong, or maybe just people just deal with stuff differently. And they got so much money in their goddamn savings that'll last them for about a good year or two. Make me wonder if they really paying rent. You know what I'm saying? You got to be observant to these things, man, because this stuff probably be occurring. You never know. So they're giving all this money away to all these other countries, who, again, from my last video, I was talking about how they tell us that we have to pull our own selves up by the bootstrap and lace up and all that other stuff. But meanwhile, they're lacing up everybody else's boots, sending all this money over to all these other countries so they can come up. And that's what it is, man. I ain't take too much time. I just want to holler at y'all about this, man. Y'all put it together. It's a puzzle piece. Put it together. You conclude. And it is what it is. It's Real Talk 101, baby. Holla.